What's up? What's happening? Welcome into Foxborough Rush. George Balekji coming in remote. Annabelle Hasselbeck back in our Foxborough Rush studios. AB, how we doing today? What's up?
I'm good. It's weird not to be next to you, but happy to be on the show today.
I know, a little different. You and I always in the studio together. This one, I'm out and about out in Long Island right now. Big weekend for the Balekji household. The first baby, the first nephew for me, my sister's kid. His first birthday is tomorrow. So everyone from all corners of wherever we're living, we're all getting together.
Excited. Is there a theme for the first birthday?
Yeah, first journey around the sun, which I did not know until 5 minutes ago. So I don't have anything for the theme. But you know what? I'm going to dress how I'm going to dress.
I don't know.
Yeah, his name is Luca. He has an Italian last name. My sister married into Italian, so it doesn't get more Italian than that. I have a Ferrari shirt. Maybe we'll just do that. I'm going Italian theme. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
There you go. I love it.
We have a good show for you guys today. Talking plenty of Patriots once we get done talking one-year-old football, one-year-old birthday party themes, excuse me. But we're going to talk about the strength of the Patriots. Is it on the offense or defense? And where do we see this defense ranking ahead of the 2025 season? We'll talk some of the rookies as well because of the big impact they'll have on both sides of the ball. All-century team, and as we always like to do, we'll get into the mailbag as well. So, Annabelle, let's start it out with a new article that came out on Pro Football Network, and it was ranking the defenses across the NFL as they see fit for the upcoming season. This is the wildest ranking to me. I understand where it comes from, but the Patriots defense with an outlook ranked of 30th out of 32 teams. Now, by all means, they were really bad last season. By all means, it was uncharacteristic what we've seen from a Patriots defense. But there were a lot of reasons they were bad. It wasn't just roster. It wasn't lack of talent. It was an impact on the coaching. But what do you make and what did you think when you saw this ranking that a Patriots defense that has a lot of guys returning from injuries, from suspensions, etc., a lot of free agency signings, still being seen as the 30th best defense in the NFL?
Yeah, 30 was shocking to me. I have to say, kind of like what you said, it's definitely recency bias. We're coming off a 4-13 season. People definitely have that bad taste in their mouth still from last year. You know, you win 4 games, but the last one, you probably didn't even want to win anyway, right? So people are probably already upset about that going into the draft. And so I think that's got to be it. But it's hard to be the 30th team out of 32 teams. Like, it's hard to be in that bottom 5. So I got to at least put them, I think they were like 22nd last year. And, you know, now we've upgraded. We've invested in this group. I have to say they at least have to be a mid-range, defense. But yeah, definitely shocking and not as great of a ranking as we'd hope.
Yeah, and I understand where the ranking comes from. And in the article, they point out, the lack of pass rush, the lack of pressures, how bad the run defense was. But, the people in New England know what happened. You had no Christian Barmore. I know he appeared for a game or two, but you had no Christian Barmore from camp on because of dealing with blood clots. He's now back. And that's your interior pass rusher. That's a guy that's going to blow up the middle of the pocket, generate a ton of pressures, and that's the best player along the defensive line. You had no Juwan Bentley, who was done from the beginning of the season on as he dealt with season-ending injury. Now, he's not back, but you had no Juwan Bentley last season. You had no leader at the middle linebacker position. Now you have Robert Spillane and Jack Gibbons, 2 free agents that were brought in. Kyle Duggar was injured. Jabril Peppers was suspended. And also the scheme did not fit the personnel at all. And that's where the biggest win of this offseason for me is what the Patriots did, not just spending in free agency, not just hiring Mike Vrabel, but matching the scheme they're going to bring in when it comes to their personnel. Terrell Williams likes to run a 4-2-5 defense, loves to have those 4-down defensive linemen. So Christian Barmore's back. By all means, everything he says is he's a go. 100% he's all go for this upcoming season. You sign Milton Williams, another interior pass rusher, and bulk up the defensive line. You sign a Harold Landry. You're bringing Keon White back and hoping he can be back to his rookie form. So it starts up front for me of what they've done so well. I understand the ranking of 30th, but when you rank them 30th, coming into this season, you point to last season, that's a naive ranking. They're healthier. They have a lot more talent. The coaching is so much better than it was last season. Everything is matching up. I didn't even mention they signed a Carlton Davis. They didn't have a cornerback too. It was Christian Gonzalez with the banged up secondary, and that was it. It's Carlton Davis. It's Christian Gonzalez. It's Marcus Epps at free safety. Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Jalen Hawkins, Craig Woodson, the rookie, filling out that safety room, and we'll see what the roles are. This is a defense that was really bad last season, like atrocious. Couldn't get to the quarterback, couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop anyone. But this is a defense now when you look at them, and yes, I'll say on paper, but we know it's not a bunch of rookies they're hoping for, unproven guys or washed up vets. Milton Williams is one of the best pass rushers in the league. Harold Landry is that vet. Keon White can be great. Christian Barmore can be great. And that's what makes this defense much better than 30th. I get what you're saying. I agree. Like, to be realistic is say, hey, this is a team I would rank middle of the pack. 15th, average. This is a defense I'll rank going average into the season. I think they could be top 10. But to rank them bottom of the league, 30th at the 32.
Disrespectful for people in Boston. And like you said, they aren't washed up vets. This is Milton Williams. This is where the Patriots spent their money in free agency, right? Like, we didn't go out and, put our money in the draft. We did our high draft picks there for the offense, but this is where the Patriots are really focusing in on. Vrabel's a defensive coach, and so I think we got to put a little more respect on the Patriots defense, and especially what we've done. I mean, Milton Williams coming off the Super Bowl, with the Eagles. That guy's going to be the leader of this defense. So yeah, I am shocked by this ranking.
And it's reuniting Harold Landry with a defensive system that he crushed it in a good way, crushed it in Tennessee. Last year was a down year. New coaching staff in there, new defensive scheme. And you're right, Annabelle. Like, yes, the high draft picks went to the offense in this past draft for the Patriots. But then they went with Craig Woodson, who could be a nickel corner or play safety and is good coverage safety. They go with Braden Swinson, who's going to be a third down pass rush specialist. But you need depth on the defensive line. They go with the Joshua Farmer, who will be in that second wave of interior defensive linemen pass rushers as well. So it all adds up. We know where the headlines are for the draft with the offense. We know where the headlines are in the free agency. And then you add in, perfect thing you bring up is a Milton Williams. It's everyone across the league. We saw they carbon copied what the Eagles did, right, AB? Like, that defensive line, the offense got them there. That team was stacked. This Eagles team was absolutely amazing. But that defensive line absolutely dominated in the Super Bowl. And what did we see the Buffalo Bills go out and do? The 49ers go out and do? Team after team. Just defensive lineman after defensive lineman. The Kansas City Chiefs going Ashton Gelati to add to their defensive line as well, and some other good players. Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee. Everyone got deeper in the defensive line. A deep defensive line draft, but everyone put so many assets in there because you see as it goes. It's like we just saw the Panthers win another Stanley Cup. It's relentless what they have. Line after line after line on a forecheck. That's what the Eagles had. Line after line after line defensively. Their guys are always fresh. They don't have to play a lot of snaps. You can't sub anyone out on the offensive line. You can sub guys in and fresh legs in on the defensive line. That's what the Patriots did in a way. That's going to be the strength to me of this defense, AB, coming up on this season. And it has to start with them because we're going to see a lot of man up with the corners in the secondary. Defensive line has to get to the quarterback in under 3 seconds or get him off his spot for the cornerbacks to be successful.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and it's a copycat league, right? So if the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, let's do what they're doing, right? So I think the strongest part of this defense for me, and it was hard to pick, right, because we did really invest in a lot of the areas of this defense, but I'm going to go with the front four, right? Like, those are guys that Vrabel is serious about because he knows you win in the trenches. It makes the job for everybody else a lot easier. And I'm expecting Keon White to really have an increase in his production this year. He said he wasn't getting coached last season, right? He threw a little bit of shade, probably just trying to compliment this new regime and this new coaching staff. But all right, like, now you feel like it's different. Like, let's see, what the impact of that really is. And we mentioned it earlier, Christian Barmore, he's playing with passion and fire in his heart. He said it at minicamp, and he went through something super serious with that health scare and the blood clots. And that just has to propel a player differently. And then Milton Williams coming in and being that leader and being the highest paid player for the Patriots. And he's showing up to OTAs. Like, he knows his role. This isn't something where he's, just saying, all right, I'm good. Like, I got my ring and I'm done. Like, he is coming in to lead this defense. And I'm just super excited about it because when your guys on that front line are doing their job, like we've always said with the Patriots, it's going to make Gonzo and Carlton Davis's job so much easier.
Yeah, and I like that you point out the defensive line. What do you think when we look at, because again, the defense was terrible last year, but they improved. Where do you think they made that biggest improvement? If you had to go with a position group, let's go with that route on. If you had to point to one position group, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, could be cornerbacks in particular, what part of the defense do you think they improved the most, Annabelle?
Yeah, I think improve the most is going to be that D-line inside right there, right? Like, yes, you can go with the corners, but I think that's where they're going to improve the most because that's where they've invested the most. Now, I'm most excited to see the cornerbacks and see the duo with Gonzo and Carlton Davis back there because that's where our glam is. And, now they're going to actually be able to play that man coverage because you have that help up front. So I think I'm going to go with the D-line on that one.
Yeah, I like the D-line. Where I'm going to go with the safety group in this one. And part of it's the health. You get Jabril Peppers back. he sounds like he's ready to step up and, really manage what he dealt with off the field, but just be more focused to stay available for his team. But it's the small things like the signing of a Marcus Epps. They need an actual free safety. Jalen Hawkins, Del Pettis can take a leap in their game. I think they can be good free safeties serving that role as a coverage safety on the back end. And it's also drafting a Craig Woodson, where Mike Vrabel addressed and said the nickel cornerback position is super important. So that's on Marcus Jones. He needs to step up. He needs to be healthy, but he's undersized, really fast, but undersized. Craig Woodson is a guy, the rookie, that can step up and play nickel on top of signing a Carlton Davis opposite of Christian Gonzalez. But to focus on the safety position, I know I'm talking about Craig Woodson being in that nickel spot. The safety room is really deep. And when we talk about a defense where we could see 6 guys in the box and 5 defensive backs out there, that second linebacker doesn't have to literally be a linebacker. It doesn't have to be Jack Gibbons. It does not have to be Christian Ellis. That other guy with Robert Spillane in the box can be a Kyle Duggar, can be a Jabril Peppers. But when you add a Marcus Epps, who is a free safety, because that's not Duggar's game, it allows him to be down in the box and play more physical, play faster, play in that tighter space, match up with tight ends, match up with slots, keep running backs in check. It allows him to be at his best, and that amplifies the rest of the defense with that. Do you think, now talking about all this defense, Annabelle, and talking about the scheme, we have to talk about Terrell Williams. Big hiring. He was a defensive line coach with the Lions this past season, longtime D-line coach in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel loves him. When he talks about how he's grown as a coach, he credits Terrell Williams because Terrell Williams is big about building relationships with players. And the guys in Detroit would say he's the best D-line coach in the NFL. Now, we've seen Carlton Davis, put out tweets about his working out and all of that. We see how excited these guys are. You think Terrell Williams is someone that can take this defense into top 10, top 5 in the NFL this season, AB?
Just like I said, it's hard to be in the bottom 5. It's really hard to be in the top 5. So I think that's a little unrealistic, but there's definitely going to be some improvement. And like you said, with Carlton Davis and his athleticism, there was a video that was posted yesterday of him doing these agility exercises. And I don't know if you ever owned a pogo stick growing up, but I love the pogo stick. And I mean, Carlton Davis is getting some height on that. So I really think that when you have people on your team that are able to just be athletes, like just, take the football part aside, like just an absolute athlete, it gives you so much more freedom. So yes, do I think Terrell Williams can take this group to top 5 defenses in the NFL? I don't know if it's that high, but it's definitely, somewhere within that mid-range.
Carlton Davis is 6'6'1". The top beam, whatever we want to call it, was like equal with like his shoulder, top of his shoulders.
Wild.
Maybe I would say bottom of his neck. And he was leaping over that.
I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that on a pogo stick or like on the moon shoes, whatever you want to call it, like whatever you got. I don't know if I could even do that.
Now the moon shoes. Now you brought me back. I wasn't a big pogo stick guy. I think it was my just lack of attention span. I would do like 5 bounces and be like, I'm bored.
I'm good,
like a treadmill. I can't do a treadmill. I cannot do like a stationary bike. Now I could run 3 miles. I could ride a bike for 2 hours. I can't. So the pogo stick, it was like 5 leaps and I was done. Were you like record setting doing backflips on a pogo stick back in the day, AB?
I was more of a Healy girl. Like that was my thing. That's why I'm like, what? That's why like my calves, I feel like I was like, fast in middle school. I'm like, it's probably because I would Healy through the mall all day. And, I had to take them off at school one day. I wasn't allowed to wear them. But I was a big Healy girl. I couldn't figure out the rip stick. That was never like, that was the one thing that I'm like, man, I'm just not that cool. I can't figure out the rip stick.
One where your feet are like this?
Yeah, it's like a swerve. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
I just picture young Annabelle just ripping it through like 6th grade hallways, like on the Heelys, like everyone's walking. You're the one that zips by.
Oh man,
I never was on
them.
the Heely wave either. I don't think I had the coordination to pull off Heely.
Listen, you're never too young. You're never too young. I mean, I was watching like X Games YouTube videos from like pro Heeliers, okay? Like that existed. So we're gonna get you some Heelys for your birthday or maybe for some holiday, George.
I'm down. I missed the pickleball wave. I wish I was going pro in pickleball. I really think I could have pulled that off. It would have been tough at my short height. But I can make it happen. Maybe I'll go pro with Heelys. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's wrap up talking about this defense and the outlook. Who do you think has a more successful 2025 season, Annabelle? Offense or defense for the Patriots?
Yeah, this one's hard because you want to say everybody, but I think in the beginning of the season, it's going to be that defense. I think that, veteran leadership. It's where we invested. I think that's really going to come together. And you have a younger offense. You have a lot of talent. You have Stephon Diggs. But I think this defense is going to have to act as like iron sharpening iron for the beginning of the season. And then, we're hoping towards the second half of the season, Drake May and his weapons can click. There can be new chemistry that's formed. You get, you play in game time situations with your team. So I'm going to go with the defense to start, but really hoping that kind of like we saw in the Patriots dynasty, the defense carries in the younger years, and then we'll see the offense rise to the occasion.
I love that at the end. I agree. Like that I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like Tom Brady's the greatest football player of all time. Football player. But before he was that great quarterback, before he even became the great football player, that defense, especially when they won in 01, 03, 04, Willie McGinnis, Richard Seymour, Rodney Harrison entered the fold. There was Lawyer Malloy back in the day, Ty Law, Teddy Bruschi. You could just go on and on. The guys that they added at certain points, and it was running the ball. Defense was just shut your mouth, like just shut you down with everything. And Tom Brady was a game manager. And that, when guys are called system quarterbacks or game managers now, everyone thinks it's an insult. That was Tom Brady to start his career. So I think that's the same way with this defense. I think it's just easier to pick up the defense. They also have the proven commodities at so many spots. Carlton Davis, proven. Christian Gonzalez, proven. Duggar, Peppers, Epps, proven. We need to be healthy. Spillane, proven. Landry, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, proven. But look at the offense. Drake May's entering his sophomore year. Still question marks with him. There's question marks with the offensive line. There's question marks with the wide receiving room. There's question marks in the running back room. There's so many answers on the defense. And to boil it down, it's all about winning at the line of scrimmage. And this defensive line, to me, will get out to a faster start than the offensive line. And there's more sure things when you look at the D-line compared to the offensive line for the Patriots. So I'm with you, Annabelle. Defense, I think, will have a more successful season. And it's because I think from week 1 to week 17, they'll be consistently good, where the offense will take some time to pick it up.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. And, you hope that they pick it up in the season and during the season, and it's not after the season. Oh, well, now we know how to click on that. Now we know how to click on that. But relationships take time, right? Like building trust takes time, not just through training camp. It takes in-game situations when you need to form those bonds. But also, kind of like you said, with the veteran leadership on the defensive side, like we have Hunter Henry, right? A guy that's probably going to be a captain, and I'm excited for him to see how he leads in this offense. And even if you're a tight end, that doesn't mean you can just lead your position group. You can lead the wide receivers too, a group that is really young and talented.
Leader on that offense, leader in the locker room for sure. Great point out, Hunter Henry. They'll need him as a leader. We'll talk about the rookies. I'm saying all those question marks about the offense. We'll talk about the rookies coming up after the break right here on Foxborough Rush. Who do we see making the all-rookie team? Who does the NFL say, hey, preseason all-rookie? Catch that after the break right here on Foxborough Rush. Back on Foxborough Rush, George Balekji, Annabelle Hasselbeck. All right, Annabelle, all the talk we have, and it's all about the draft. We're in that dead period of the NFL offseason. I think, let's address the elephant in the room, right? And it's at the point where we keep talking about these rookies from the time they were drafted to leading up to the draft to after in camp. What are they going to do? We're going to keep talking about that ad nauseum. I like that NFL.com from Gennaro Felice. He put out an article of his all-rookie team and who will have the biggest impact. Kyle Williams of the Patriots. Surprising enough, with all the receivers that were taken before him, he makes this list. That says a lot to me about Kyle Williams. Do you agree? You think he is a guy that will have such a big impact that he could be all rookie? And this is with Ted McMillan. Travis Hunter will be interesting to see what he classifies as, right? Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Emeka Egbuka, who's going to be so big for Tampa Bay, Luther Burden with Chicago. But he put Kyle Williams as a guy that he sees being all rookie. Do you understand, or I guess, agree with I could see that happening, and that's a guy that's capable of it?
Yeah, well, that's a stacked room that you just named. So yeah, it's a little surprising to see the third rounder in this group of 11, but it'd be great. Let's go. It's great for the Patriots if they can get that out of Kyle Williams, and it's a really talented wide receiver room. But the big question we've been asking, all offseason, who's going to step up, right? We thought it would be Diggs, and it still definitely can be, but then we're bringing Terry McLaurin into the conversation, right? And so I think it would be awesome if Kyle Williams can definitely be that guy, and he's toasted guys like Travis Hunter on the film. Those are some of his highlight reels. So you definitely know that he has that ability to get open and, make plays. And Steve Smith, old Carolina Panthers wide receiver, even said that he reminds him of himself. So definitely a lot of high praise for Kyle Williams. So you know what? If we're saying it, it's awesome. Let's go.
I love you bringing back in the Terry McLaurin combo. I mean, like, again, that's someone the Patriots need to get. But look, with a guy like Kyle Williams, I see it because, and the reason the Patriots need to get someone like a Terry McLaurin, right? Like, if you can trade for him, he just wants to get paid, and it'll take a second or third round pick. You pull the trigger, is because look at the wide receiving room. Stephon Diggs coming off the torn ACL. We'll keep saying it. Looks good, but he's coming off the torn ACL. And honestly, the stuff off the field, like, will he be quiet enough that Mike Vrabel will tolerate him and want him in the locker room? Kendrick Bourne, up there in age. Pop Douglas, good, but an undersized slot for a Josh McDaniels offense. And Pop Douglas is a guy that doesn't run block. It's not his strength. He's good. He's shifty. He's a gadget player. Kyle Williams will have the usage. He'll have the significant role. And he's a guy that blends perfect for Drake May's game. Good down the field receiver, good middle of the field receiver, and a smart, good route running, is great with the ball in air and fighting for it at the catch point. Yeah, sure, he comes in undersized. You see him in person, though, he looks a lot bigger than what he's listed at. What stands out to me with Kyle Williams, his advanced route running, his understanding of footwork, he gets leverage. And when the ball is in the air, how he attacks it at the catch point is what his strengths are. And I think that's important for a guy where Drake May is going to have to depend on him. Josh McDaniels will throw a lot at him, but knows how to get the most out of his guys. But again, when you look at the rest of the receiving room, like, he could be the most talented guy in that room. That's a lot to say about a third-round pick. It's a lot to say about a rookie.
That's a lot to say. That is a lot to say. But you know what? It really just depends on the chemistry with Drake May and that trust with Drake May. And it's going to be competitive. So, you hope that in those competitive environments, people's best rise to the occasion. You have to, you can't be complacent. You want to be the first person in drills. You want to be working in your off time. Like, it's going to be really hard. You got Pop, Diggs, Hollins. Maybe if he rubs off on him enough, he'll be walking around barefoot. We don't know. So I think that people are going to rise to the occasion, and it's going to bring the best out of these guys.
Yeah. And it's a great point with the chemistry. I mean, because everything you read, Kyle Williams staying on the field, Drake May after, like, building that. That's a connection they hope to have. What Josh Downs was at UNC for Drake May, that's what Kyle Williams could be in New England for Drake May. And what will come with it is not just the chemistry and the usage and the role, but the stats. And again, if you are just putting up significant stats for a rookie wide receiver, that's what will get you onto the all-rookie team as well. And here was Kyle Williams. He was talking about his mindset as he's going up against Christian Gonzalez every day in practice for the Patriots. Check it out right here.
My mindset is don't drop the money. You know what I'm saying? So every time the ball is there, it's a bag of money. We can't let that hit the floor because that's somebody else's. So just being able to make those plays, just showing that I compete against those top-tier guys against the league, and it makes me excited because Gonzo I think it's an iron sharpen iron thing, so going against Gonzo is going to help me and better my game.
Love that. Hey, just like, don't let the ball hit the ground. Like, ball's in the air, it's his. But that's also, too, is it's every day in practice. This is a guy that's going to line up on the outside. He's either going against a Christian Gonzalez or a Carlton Davis because he's taking reps with the ones, likely going against the ones. And that is something that will help a rookie come along from the coaching, the chemistry. We can talk all about that. It's a competition he's going to see every day in practice, Annabelle.
Yeah, well, he said don't drop the money. And right when he said that, I thought of that TikTok trend, like, give me the money. Do you remember that one?
Yep.
Did you get pranked
where
on
everyone
it?
fakes it and then the one person doesn't know.
I was safe from it.
But it's the value of the ball that's being preached to a rookie, and like that's what matters for these guys. And someone like Kyle Williams has the capability, has the talent, has all those traits that you want in a receiver. And coming in with a third-round tag and maybe a question mark, but I can see it. Two people not on the list maybe jumped out to Patriots fans on this list from NFL.com. No Travion Henderson, more significant, no Will Campbell. And I understand it. But also, if Will Campbell turns out to be the starting left tackle the Patriots need, not just want, but need, this guy should be all rookie because he's going to have so much responsibility for this offense. The two guys that had on the list, Armand Membu, he's a starting right tackle for the Jets. Josh Simmons, if his knee is okay, he'll be the starting left tackle for the Chiefs. But if Will Campbell works out at left tackle and he hits his ceiling on what he can be, it'll be such a significant role for the Patriots. He needs to be the anchor on that left side. To me, that would be an all-rookie-esque performance over a Josh Simmons or over an Armand Membu because of how much the Patriots are going to be relying on Will Campbell.
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, we want him to do really well, but I think just for the purposes of who he picked and who the writer picked in this, he already picked 2 running backs. He was like, okay, I probably don't want to, pick an O-lineman. I'd rather, pick a wide receiver. It's probably the more fun option, right? So I think that's probably why Will Campbell wasn't on this list and TreVeyon Henderson. But there's also probably another real reason why TreVeyon Henderson wasn't on this list. I did a little bit of digging, and the writer who wrote this for NFL Network, where did he go? Looked at his LinkedIn. He went to Michigan. Who does he not want? A lot of Ohio State guys. He already had an Ohio State lineman. He's like, all right, I can't have more OSU guys than Michigan guys. So you never know. Those personal rivalries, man, like they last with you forever. I know I'm guilty of it sometimes, for sure.
Yeah, you wouldn't put anyone from Notre Dame on your all NFL list. Like,
I don't know.
Happening,
I don't
right?
know. Yeah, I like all people, but yeah, that's definitely a rival of mine for sure.
What's the biggest BC rival? It has to be Notre Dame, right? Or does it depend on sport?
You know what? It depends on sport. I'd like to say that I think BC thinks that Notre Dame's our rival, but Notre Dame doesn't really think that. For women's lacrosse, I'd say, which is what I played, our rivals are UNC and Northwestern. So a little bit different.
All right, good rivals to have, good programs, good all that. I love the investigative reporting, by the way. Add that to your resume, please, because going into the LinkedIn depths on this, seeing he's a Michigan guy. The 2 running backs I made, Ashton Ginty, RB1, RJ Harvey, RB1, and in a Sean Payton offense, where TreVeyon Henderson, and everyone gets caught up. Who's the starting running back? He's going to be more in a timeshare type role. Ramondre Stevenson is first and second down when you need to run the ball. TreVeyon Henderson will be more of a versatile piece, lining up all over on formation, can run routes out of the slot, can run routes out of the backfield, could line up in the backfield next to Ramondre Stevenson in the shotgun. He's more of an all-around player, won't get the same volume or touches as a Harvey or a Ginty, so that makes sense. And also, it makes sense, too. He went with Josh Simmons, who is a left tackle. He went with Armand Membu, who is an offensive tackle. All the NFL measurables, all the experts go, Will Campbell is going to be a guard. Like, look at his lack of wingspan. So that's where I also understand on him being left off this prediction of an NFL rookie team, where he's like, I'm going to go with the guys that play the position and the guys that will have that role too. But yeah, I bet the Michigan bias comes in a little bit too, AB.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And it's also just about like that immediate impact that's super visible, right? And so I think that's why he probably went with wide receiver and Ashton Ginty and the other running backs that he went with, because, you're going to have a guy like TreVeyon Henderson. He's not coming in and expected to carry the whole load, right? He's that home run hitter that's going to come in and give us a little change up on offense for the Patriots. So I think when he's looking at that holistically, it's probably like, who's going to be that people are going to the pro shop and buying their jersey after watching a few games.
And also want to point out, though, that the Patriots kicker, Andy Borregales, he made the all-rookie special teams team. So, look, I think that's kind of like, what is it? Who checks a box, right? Who is the team that will have a rookie starting kicker? By all means, it's pointing to the Patriots will have it. Feel like that's an easy choice here. You're going with the rookies. I'm not going to act like I know how to pick an all-rookie special teams team, especially when it comes to gunners and coverage guys. But Andy Borregales, good kicker from Miami, not Michigan. Sounds like he's like, yeah, I'll adapt to the cold, no problem. And again, special teams was an area, everywhere was an area of needed improvement for the Patriots. Andy Borregales adds to that. So he was someone that was looked at as, yeah, we'll predict him to make the all-rookie team. Just funny ad for the Patriots. Everyone's like, why are they drafted a long snapper, they drafted a kicker. Land Larson, we could see him have contributions as a punt returner and a gunner. And they're saying Andy Borregales might be one of the best Patriots players to make the all-rookie team, too.
Yeah, hey, it's super interesting. You don't normally see kickers get drafted, and it's very rare, especially, he's probably going to start. And like you said, he went to Miami, can he kick in the cold? That's a real thing. But I think it's exciting. And you can really see, like, okay, this new regime of the Patriots with Mike Vrabel, like, they're really redoing everything. Like, they're going to the kicker and the long snapper. But this guy's awesome. I mean, it shows that the Patriots have a lot of faith in him. He absolutely balled out at Miami. He had 116 points last season. And I don't know about you, but I kind of think the Patriots could use 116 points coming from their kicker. So it's pretty incredible. And
yes.
I actually saw his Instagram username. It's nolimit.andy. And I'm like, all right, like, let's see those 50-plus field goals if, like, there's no limit. So I'm excited about it. He's proven it in minicamp. He's proven it, what he did in college. So I think it's a great get. So definitely, surprising to see in a draft, especially in the situation that we're in. But I think it's exciting because, you never know the impact that those kickers can have.
Yeah, at his pro day too, just like wowing during his workout, just hitting absolute nukes, attempting field goals as well. So again, something he'll bring to it. All the rookies they have, who do you think will be the most impactful for the Patriots this season? To your point, a kicker could tie it all together on special teams, give them points they need. Kyle Williams could be the guy that unlocks his passing game. Joshua Farmer can add a lot when it comes to the pass rush. Will Campbell could do great at left tackle. Travion Henderson can add to the offense. A lot of rookies that will be starting. Who do you think will be the most impactful for them, Annabelle?
Well, I think when you talk about Drake May, and the whole emphasis last season was how do we protect him? We don't want to throw him in with a tough old line and him get hurt. So that was the huge emphasis last year. Was the crux of all of our conversations. And so I want to say Will Campbell because I want to be like, yeah, man, you're going to come in and you're going to do what you said. I'm going to protect my quarterback till I die, right? But I think when you think about just production, I'm going to go with this kicker because of the amount of points that he has the opportunity to score just right off the bat. You're given the opportunity. You know that he's going to be put in these positions to succeed and to have the opportunity to really make an impact for the Patriots this season.
Hey, I love that pick. As you alluded to start it, though, I just got to go to Will Campbell here. He will have the biggest impact on this entire team, I think, out of any single player. It's Drake May. How good is your quarterback? That determines the success. But they have to protect him. And Will Campbell doesn't have just the responsibility of starting, but starting a left tackle and performing above his measurements, performing as an anomaly of what he can be. Because again, it's all, the arm length talk. It was the wingspan. And this is a guy that has a sub 78-inch wingspan. No starting left tackle last year in the NFL. An actual starting left tackle had a sub 80-inch wingspan. Joe Thuney was starting at left tackle in an emergency role for the Chiefs. Great. He has 79.5-inch wingspan, I believe, off the top of my head. Will Campbell will be the most impactful rookie for this Patriots team because if he executes at left tackle, ties this offensive line together, protects Drake May, run blocks for Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, lets this offense operate in a Josh McDaniels system, he will have the biggest impact out of everyone in New England. It has to be Will Campbell. They're the guys with the rules. To your point, Andy Borregales, can the special teams execute? Can the Patriots get points when they're in the red area? Can they get points when they're beyond the 40 and in their opponent's territory? That'd be huge because if this defense is top 5, top 10, and you're just getting points, you'll win because they were missing out on that. So I love the Andy Borregales pick. To me, it just comes down to Will Campbell. Can he be a left tackle? And if he's just average, that will be so much better than what we saw last year because this offensive line was a mess for them, Annabelle.
Yeah, well, Will Campbell, when he was asked about, how he plays, he said, well, why don't you ask my quarterback, Jaden Daniels? And so I think that would kind of be the confidence that he has in coming into this season. Yes, people are talking about his wingspan and his metrics and how it's different. But I really do think as a player, when people start commenting on those parts of you, that's when you take it to the next level. Also, he's probably heard that a lot of his life, right? And so I think it's more, too, about that relationship with Drake May that he has and the ability to protect him, like he says. But you pulled out some other guy's wingspan. You're like, off the top of my head, this guy's wingspan. I'm like, George, I don't know how you know these things. It is impressive.
The time I spent. I wish, I'm doing this show from my brother-in-law's office. He's a lawyer, very successful, awesome, smart dude, brilliant dude. I wish I could take, the amount of care I have for wingspans. If I took into law, maybe I'd be a lawyer. But you know what? Following the passion, following what I love, and it's wingspans of offensive linemen. It's just because people could tell me, and it's how I'm wired. I can't just hear what I need to know. I need to hear why. I know there are people generation above us. Why people? They're like, oh my God, they roll their eyes. Look, the sky's blue, but why is it blue? That's what I need to know. Why is Will Campbell's wingspan a possible liability? I need to know why, and that's what drew me to Joe Thuney because I wish I knew why. Now I'm brain dumping on everything when it comes to the wingspans, Annabelle. Let's take another break here on Foxborough Rush. When we're back, we'll talk Patriots All-Century Team, overall NFL, who made it, who was snubbed. We'll do all that and more right here on Foxborough Rush. Welcome back to Foxborough Rush, RAB. Let's get into the ESPN NFL All-Century Team. So this was put together by Aaron Schatz and Seth Walder of ESPN. A 53-man roster, essentially, is what they did. Every great player and coach since the year 2000. So the Patriots that did make this: Tom Brady, no surprise. Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, no surprise. Vince Wilfork, Darrelle Revis, but I think it'd be more of his time with the Jets, but he was fantastic with the Patriots in that lone season. Matthew Slater as the special teamer, and then the head coach, shocker, is Bill Belichick as the all-century head coach for this team. I love, as you guys see it on your screen, if you're not watching, Priest Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry as the running backs, the receivers, Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, Justin Jefferson, in just a few seasons making this. This is a list that took me down memory lane. I would have loved to see LaDainian Tomlinson at running back. I would have loved to seen on the edge, you have DeMarcus Ware, Myles Garrett, Jared Allen, Julius Peppers. I think that's perfect. But you know what? I think there were some snubs across. What did you make of the Patriots that made this list, but also the people that were snubbed off of it, AB?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a really impressive showing just from the Pats on this list. I mean, they basically cover every part of the team. You got the head coach, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, 2 defensive weapons, and the Matthew Slater. It's like the heyday for the Patriots. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome. But, yeah, I mean, there's definitely people that I think are missing and should be on this list. I mean, to start, how about ex-Patriot Adam Vinatieri? Like, that was glaring to me. I'm like, how are we not seeing Adam Vinatieri? And, you know, the best kickers are the guys who come in clutch. Those are the guys that you remember. This guy really set off the Patriots' Super Bowl runs with his game-winning, multiple game-winning kicks, right, in that 01-02 season. And so I just think, yeah, if you're clutch like that, it's Adam Vinatieri. That was like a name that I'm, like, shocked not to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the same. Like, Justin Tucker's there, and they credit his points and his Super Bowl ring. Like, Vinatieri has 4 because he won one with the Colts.
Which is
but
wild.
Also the game
I mean, I said that to someone the other day. I'm like, when I saw this list, I'm like, 4 Super Bowl rings? I mean, that is insane. 2 different teams? Crazy.
He's the greatest kicker of all time. And his career started before 2000, but he's the greatest kicker of all time because his resume from 2001 on. He had the game-winning field goal against the Raiders in the Snow Bowl. He had the game-winning field goal in that Super Bowl. He had a game-winning field goal as time expired to literally win a Super Bowl. Like, he had his fingerprints all over the Patriots' first dynasty in the early 2000s, and his fingerprints all over the Colts' successful run and season to their Super Bowl win, too. Yeah, Adam Vinatieri not being on this is, like, absolutely absurd. I don't understand how you don't have the greatest kicker of all time on the All-Century team, and a bulk of his – and all of him putting together that resume was done in this century. So that made no sense to me. Also, like, when I talk about edge rushers, going away from a Patriot, but Von Miller, I don't know how Von Miller is not on this list. Julius Peppers, Jared Allen's great. DeMarcus Ware's fantastic. The guys that are on that list. I would have put Von Miller, I think, above DeMarcus Ware as all-century pass rushers on this. And Myles Garrett's so dominant, he deserves to be on that. I would have put Von Miller on this one.
Yeah, well, you know, you got some papers that might be flying away from you behind you, George, as we got the good AC, you know, pumping there in Long Island. It's probably really hot. Is it hot out in Long Island today?
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. It is brutal.
The Long Island ghost. I should say Long Island
town
ghost.
Over from Amityville, so yeah, it could be a ghost. Oh gosh, knocking on wood after I put that out there now.
There you go. Hey, I don't believe in wood, or I don't believe in wood. I don't believe in ghosts, so it's not a problem over here.
Now, looking at this team, as we go more on Patriots, like Richard Seymour not on it, Willie McGinnis, Wes Welker, who started off like the successful slots. You can go with Troy Brown, but he's not NFL great. That's a Patriot great. But it's the pieces from that like 07 offense that ran through 2011, 2012, where Wes Welker was fantastic with the Patriots, but also when he was with the Broncos and everything he did elsewhere from that point on. That's a guy, too, to not be on the all-century list. Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, and Justin Jefferson, fantastic. There should have been like slot corners on this. Priest Holmes, a little bit of a surprise. Give me LaDainian Tomlinson, though. The best running back I've ever seen play that I grew up watching. There's Adrian Peterson, who's the best I've ever seen play as well. One of those two guys should be on this list. Priest Holmes, all-time running back, so fantastic. But for like our LT to not be on this list, I was shocked by that too.
I was shocked by that, and I'm born in 2001, okay? So maybe I didn't grow up in the Priest Home era, but, like, I know who LT is, right? Like, I know he's, like, that Christian McCaffrey, got the visor on. They were doing an NFL films on him last night, okay? Like, this guy is irrelevant. He's already in the Hall of Fame, so I was shocked about that, too. There was one touchdown, one game where he had a touchdown, passing, catching, and rushing, okay? So, like, this guy, definitely shocked that he wasn't on that list and just the NFL records that he set, but maybe it's my age, I don't know, but I definitely know who LT is.
Right. And the impact he had, I mean, how good he was with the Chargers, had good years with the Jets as well. Set the single rushing touchdown record, set the single record for touchdowns scored as well because of his receiving and rushing touchdowns. Broke Sean Alexander's record that he set, I think, the season before, maybe the season before that as well. Again, two great running backs. So I was surprised they weren't on it. If you could take anyone that you saw on this roster, ESPN's All-Century team, and put them on the Patriots, when they were playing, maybe put them on a particular team. You could put them now with Drake May. Who is someone you would take off the roster and add to the Patriots roster as an all-time great throughout the NFL?
Yeah, that's a fun question. I think when I look at that list, I'm going to go Luke Kuechly, okay? BC guy, 7-time Pro Bowler in his 8 years of playing. Like, you just think about, do a little math on that. Like, 7-time Pro Bowler in his 8 years of playing. He'd be playing under Bill's defense next to Teddy Bruschi. So I'm going to go Luke Kuechly, big fan, and I think that'd be a fun Patriots pick.
I like the Luke Kuechly pick. Exactly. Putting him in the same room as Bill Belichick, like those meetings, the IQ he has. Luke Kuechly is one of the smartest football players to ever play the game, like, period. One of the smartest before you even get into his ability and how competitive he was. I'm just going to go with the sexy pick here. I'm going Calvin Johnson at wide receiver. You pair up Calvin Johnson with Tom Brady. Calvin Johnson's the most dominant football player I've ever seen play. Tom Brady's the greatest football player I've ever seen play. No one has dominated like I see what Calvin Johnson did from his second year in the league on. And he did it with really bad Lions teams. He did it with Matt Stafford. He did it battling injuries. Give me Calvin Johnson, the greatest receiver, in my opinion, ever. Put him with Tom Brady. That's popcorn. That is fireworks. That's what people would love to see. And the numbers those two would put up from the seasons Tom Brady had with Randy Moss. We got a taste of that. Put Tom Brady with Calvin Johnson. I would have loved to see that.
And I know that this isn't technically like the right timing to that question, but just other names on this list, when I was scrolling through, I see Gronk, then I see Kelsey, and I'm like, man, if this was real and we had Kelsey and Gronk on the same team, like, what do you even do? Like, how do you even defend that? And, like, not only just defend that, but, like, how fun would that team be? That would be a really fun team. So I love lists like these, even though, they're silly in some sense because they're unrealistic, but at the same time, I'm like, man, that did get me wondering, what would that be like to have two tight ends like that?
That would be every opposing defense's nightmare. You have Gronk as an inline tight end, Travis Kelsey lining up basically in the slot and out wide. But, like, how good they are route running. The red zone offense, if it was Gronk and Travis Kelsey on the same offense, whoever the quarterback would be, it would just be nightmares. It would just be absolute nightmares for any opposing defense.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty fun, but definitely make believe. I don't see that. Well, obviously Gronk's retired, so he's not coming out of retirement for that one. He'd probably want to be the star.
Exactly. All right, we'll take another break here on Foxborough Rush. When we get back, we'll have plenty for our mailbag coming up, answering your questions you leave on our YouTube page. Before we go to break, always make sure you can catch new episodes of Foxborough Rush every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 2 p.m., airing live on Nessa Nation. Also catch every episode on YouTube. Go to Nessa's YouTube page, hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. You hit us in the comments. That is what our mailbag will be. We'll get to our mailbag. Your comments, your questions on the Patriots and around the NFL right after the break. Welcome back to Foxborough Rush. George Balekji Annabelle Hasselbeck. We'll get to the mailbag, but let's start with this. Annabelle, don't believe in ghosts. You don't? I think we got to revisit this conversation.
Well, initially I said I don't believe in wood by accident, so I definitely believe in wood. But I don't believe in ghosts. It's just not a thing that I've ever, worried about or thought about. Definitely like those Halloween movies growing up, like, scared me for sure. I was like kind of intimidated by those, but I think I used that to be like, they're not real. I'm not going to worry about it. They're definitely not real. But do you think ghosts are real, George?
1,000%. I'm 100% in. Ghosts exist, but it's not like I'm scared of ghosts. Like, so I'm living with my in-laws right now. Fiance and I got a house in Wakefield. Need a lot of work done. Only reason we can afford it because it's 2025. I'm not going to get to the housing market right now. But living with my in-laws, there is a ghost in their house. They've told me about it. I think her name's Antonella. I forget. But I'll be in different parts of the house. Washing dishes, light is flickering. Going up the stairs, light is flickering. Sitting down on the kitchen island, eating, a different light is flickering. And to me, every time that's her waving to me. So I just go, hey, how you doing? Say what's up to her. That's my best friend. I'm just going, I appreciate visiting me. 1,000% I believe in ghosts. 100% I believe in ghosts.
Hey, but have you ever heard of an electrician?
Yes. Oh no, 100%.
You
But
said
this is
it
what I'm
needs a
saying.
little work.
It's different.
You said it needs a little work. Hey, maybe like that's what it is. But this is my one question for you, because I could maybe meet you halfway on this. If something happened in the house, like if there was like an event that happened in the house, maybe that could be considered ghost. Like it's filled with ghosts. But I don't know. What's the story behind the house?
Okay, I didn't want to get morbid, but I believe Antonella passed away in the house. It wasn't
There
anything
you go.
terrible.
I didn't want to say
passed
it,
away.
but you said it.
And again, it's not my house that needs work. Their house is perfectly fine, and it's a different light, different times of day, randomly flickering. And I think I uncovered like 3 parts. It could be like every room at some point. So I'm just saying, she visits. She's really nice. She's very welcoming. Again, I'm staying in her old home.
Got
Love
it.
her to
So
death. We're best friends.
I misheard you. So it's not your house. So when you move, it'll be all good.
Yeah. And you know what though? Like again, it's at my in-laws' house. I'll go back, hang out with them, and I'll visit Antonella all the time. So
Antonella.
it's
my
like
ghost
the perfect
friend. Ghost name. Like honestly, like I think I have to believe you just because of the name of the ghost.
It's like an old Italian woman
Yeah.
visiting me all the time, making sure I'm well fed, and making sure I'm not hungry. All the laundry
Give her
is
the
folded.
money, right? You know.
Exactly. That is it exactly. All right, let's get into the mailbag. No questions about ghosts, I think. Shout out to our producer Brendan, who always gets these for us, puts them together. I never like to read them beforehand because I want the raw brain dump reaction. So we got, what a YouTube handle, a dank Pop-Tart. AB, what's your favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
Oh, strawberry. Boom. I did a whole Respect
Good
Your Game
one.
episode with Laura Stickles on the Pop-Tart Bowl with college football, and we actually ate Pop-Tarts, so definitely strawberry. What's yours?
Question needs to be asked. Do you put them in the freezer ever?
I've never done that, but should I do that?
Do you toast them, or you just rip them out of
Just
the pack and
right
have
out
them?
of the package. Honestly, haven't had one since that college football playoff, the bowl game when we were taste testing them, and then back in 5th grade. But if I do the next one, what should I do? Freezer or toaster?
Okay, next time we're on the show together, I don't think we're going to be on it together next Friday. Remind me, I'm going to put some in the freezer for you. I'll let you try. Cookies and cream in the freezer.
Amazing.
Let it be in there for like 20 minutes. Take it out, let it thaw for a little bit, then bite into it. It'll be amazing. It's ice cream-esque. It's not frozen all the way, but freeze the Pop-Tarts a little.
You know your stuff, George.
Yeah, I'm a sicko. My favorite flavor is s'mores. I don't think anyone thinks those are good. I love the s'mores Pop-Tarts. All right, here's from a dank Pop-Tart on YouTube. Off rip, I want to say Milton Williams. People are talking about this guy like he was trash, and it was all Jalen Carter. So we'll see. And that's who he thinks will be the Patriots' most underrated player. I like that pick because from the outside, I guess everyone is saying of how good he was because of that D-line, because of what the Eagles did. I love Milton Williams. I don't think he's underrated because I think there's a lot of attention with that signing. But I could see why, because people are saying he stinks because he was playing next to one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL in Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from, but I definitely can't see how your highest paid player can be deemed underrated. So I think there I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know. He seems pretty highly regarded by his team in this organization. But someone who's probably underrated is Harold Landry because he is that veteran player. He's that veteran leader who Vrabel brought in. It's his guy from Tennessee. And just probably because he's been in Tennessee, there's not a lot of sparkle on that team and hasn't been for a little bit. He's probably going to be the player who I would deem that underrated.
I like that Harold Landry pick a lot. I think the underrated for me, when I go through it, and it's a guy we were talking about earlier, I go back to Kyle Williams because of what he can be as a wide receiver and how he can contribute to this offense. Flying under the radar in a way of like, he's a rookie. It'll take a while to get acclimated. Josh McDaniels system's complex. I'm excited to see what Kyle Williams can achieve. All right, from Steven Martin 6430, Drake May had 2 head injuries last year. He seems fast, but he's long and has difficulty avoiding contact. If you have designed running plays plus scrambles, I'm concerned about his ability to stay healthy. I get it. I understand it, especially with the questionable offensive line. The way I look at it, the smart schemers, the smart play callers, you can give Drake May scrambling plays, you can give him rushing plays, but you give him easy outs in a way of you slide here or everything's on the boundary, you step out of bounds. It's all about getting 6 yards. It's not about breaking a long run for Drake May. And put him in positions where he has a choice, slide or get out of bounds. And that's what I think Josh McDaniels would do for him.
Definitely, and he's going to be smart about it, right? Like, we don't need those extra 2 yards. You saw Jaden Daniels did a great job with this last season. Like, it's not worth it, right? They spent the entire season last year protecting Drake May. Like, that was the whole focus of last year, is just being really cautious with him. So, yeah, I think Josh McDaniels is going to do a great job designing run plays for Drake May because he is that mobile quarterback, but they're not going to be stupid and put him in situations. And you've got to learn, right? As a young quarterback, you're coming in from college when the situation was probably different. It's coaching and it's learning, hey, like, what's worth it, what's not, how do I handle these different situations?
Yeah. Like Jaden Daniels, fantastic rusher. At times was taking bad hits, but was being smart with avoiding contact and understood when the middle of the field was open to rush and does a good job sliding. And that was my knock for him and why I loved him coming out of college, but the concern was his frame, doesn't have the broadest shoulders, doesn't have the biggest base. And when he was taking hits at LSU and Arizona State, he always looked like Sonic the Hedgehog in the video game, getting hit and all the rings bursting out of him. Like, that was Jaden Daniels. But that didn't happen in his rookie season. And that's part of the maturation process. We saw Drake May take big hits, get concussions, all that. Don't lower your shoulder, brother. You are way too important to this team, in this city, in this region to be taking hits. You don't need to be the power back. That's Ramondre Stevenson. That's Trayvon Henderson. They run behind their pads. Be an athletic quarterback and give him outs. I think Josh McDaniels will do that for him. And with this from Stanley Wellness 9771 on Gerard Mayo. What ruined his career was his lack of ability for the position he accepted. On-the-job training is not part of the job description. Did he undermine last year's of Bill Belichick's regime? Question worth asking. Vrabel was always a hire, took one wasted year before hiring him. Okay. Yes, he had to learn on the job. Did he undermine last year Bill Belichick? No. This is what was on Robert Kraft. They baked into Gerard Mayo's contract. He would be the successor. Bill Belichick shut out Gerard Mayo, didn't mentor him as he should. But guess what? If you're Robert Kraft, don't do that. He had to learn on the job. He wasn't ready 100%, but he wasn't undermining Bill, so I think. And at the end, Vrabel was always a hire. Yes, it just took an extra year. So, yeah, a good observation there by Stanley Wellness. Love the, thought out comment on our YouTube page, AB.
Yeah, I know. This guy's got a point for sure, but I think it's too far to say that his career is ruined. Like, that's not the case we've seen in any coaches really in the NFL. People get second chances, but hey, Stanley Wallace 9771, good point.
Keep the comments coming, Stanley Wellness. I'm George Balekji. She's Annabelle Hasselbeck. This is Foxborough Rush. Catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. on SN Nation. Also on our YouTube page where you guys can leave comments like the ones we just read for AB and GB. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.